Now, still on the news at this time, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has stopped dollar transaction at foreign embassies in Nigeria. The anti-graft agency said that Nigerian local currency should be the only legal tender for transactions at foreign embassies. There are indications that the commission sent an advisory to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs stating that all transactions at foreign missions should be conducted in Naira. The commission explained that the directive is part of efforts to strengthen the Naira. The value of the Naira dipped from around 700 Naira to $1 to around 1,400 Naira to $1 in the last 1 year, since the collapse of the foreign exchange windows by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. Now, joining me on the news at this time to discuss this is Alesta Wilcox, a fellow Institute of Chartered Accountants. Thank you for joining me on the news. Now, in your opinion, will this policy by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission effectively increase demand for the Naira and strengthen its value?
Well, thank you for having me, and good afternoon, everybody. I think this is the best way to go. I do not even know why it's coming so late in the day, but it's rather late than never. I'd always advocated that any transaction in Nigeria being priced in any currency other than Nigeria, other than the Naira, is an aberration to our economic policies. So I'm happy that this EFCC has woken up. As a matter of fact, I don't even think it's the job of the EFCC. It's the job of central bank. But since the central bank seems to be having a lame duck up towards it, and the EFCC are taking it off, it's a welcome development. I think we must transact businesses in Nigeria in Naira and not in any other currency, apart from anybody that could have an express exception, maybe from the president, to transact in any other currency. But the official currency of Nigeria is Naira, and every transaction in Nigeria must be domesticated in Naira.
Now, are there any, I mean, I was just about to also ask if there are any potential unintended consequences of this policy, particularly on the exchange rate.
No, well, it will only get more demand for the Naira. Remember, it's not just embassies. I'm surprised I'm hearing embassies. It's not only embassies that transact businesses in Naira and in foreign currency. We know the recent celebrated case of Yaya Bello. That means institutions other than even the embassies. I'm talking about schools, hospitals, airlines, and other agencies, other businesses in Nigeria, hotels, domesticate their presence in dollar. And this is a complete aberration. You don't expect that somebody is in Nigeria and is charging school fees in dollars, and Nigerians are paying. I think that is unacceptable. So yes, it should not just stop at embassies. Yes, embassies, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's a very small, but that is a very small quantity in terms of outlay. But schools, like all those early schools in Abuja and Lagos and other parts of the country, schools, hospitals, hotels, all these five-star hotels that you see that domicile their prices in dollars, I think it is an aberration. So people, and of course, if services are priced in Naira, it will make people to make the dollar valuable. So or demand for the dollar to be reduced. For instance, I mean, Yaya Bello now have demanded almost $1 million sold from the black market, from the real chain, to pay the children's school fees, or whoever paid that school fees. It might not be Yaya Bello, whoever paid that school. So imagine the quantum of people in that school and how much they will now be sourcing for dollar from autonomous market, from the real change to pay school fees. So imagine how many people that will be sourcing for dollar to pay for embassy services, consular services. So if it is in Naira, then there will be no need to source for dollar. Then anybody that has Naira just go and pay, and then it now becomes when they want to represent their money or their profit, they now go through the central bank to represent their profit. So there will be less pressure on demand for dollar, and of course that will give a lot of strength and stability to the Naira.
All right. Now, how long do you project that, of course, we might see some sort of measurable impact, in terms of the Naira's value? And also, one question on the lips of many is, will this in any way affect diplomatic relations between Nigeria and some of the countries that might be affected as a result of this directive?
I do not see any diplomatic setback or fallback, because in those countries, their transactions are done in their local currency. So Nigeria is not an exception. So if you are an embassy, you are not immune to the laws of the country. As a matter of fact, yours is to help to strengthen the internal laws of the country to make it stronger. That is part of your responsibility. So I do not see any. I mean, transactions in the Nigerian embassy in the UK is done in pounds. The transactions in the Nigerian embassy in Washington is done in dollar. It's not done in naira. So there won't be any diplomatic fallback. On the value of the naira, yes, there will be less pressure, but those are not exactly what determines the value. There's a lot and lot of manipulation. There's a lot of manipulation of the dollar of the naira against the dollar. A lot, even when there's no demand, and that is why those P2P platforms. We saw what Binance was doing before Binance was clamped down. Now the other platforms, all the P2P platforms that are just every day manipulating the value of the naira. And I have been calling for this. As a matter of fact, this embassy thing, I've been calling for it on several fora, that all Nigerians must implement that law. The CBN must implement that law that all transactions in Nigeria is limited in naira and nothing more. So anybody who wants to pay for their services, go and pay for it naira, not to go and start searching for the dollar. Then you can now think of the way of repatriating your profit at the end of the day. So the value of the naira might not increase today, but over time, with all these measures and with less pressure in the market, in the breed change, less pressure, people keep looking for thousands and thousands of dollars to pay for school fees, to pay for medical in Nigeria. If those ones are not there, then the demand will be low, and then certainly, if there is adequate supply, it will of course drive down the value of the naira, of the dollar, and the naira will gain strength. So it's just a two-way thing. But of course, not.
All right, Alesta. Alesta, one issue again is that, more importantly, is that in this part of the world, compliance, is usually an issue. How realistic is it for the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to effectively enforce this ban, particularly on foreign agencies, given the prevalence of the dollarized transactions, particularly in some sectors?
For me, as far as the embassies are concerned, it is mainly consular services that are priced in dollars or in other foreign currency. Mainly dollar consular services, those looking for visa. And I don't think much of that. That's why I say it's a small fry. But it is the businesses. And then nobody is bigger than the government in terms of compliance. Right now that the government has woken up from their sleep, it is just for the government to make the announcement. And then the agencies will go in to verify if this is happening. They will do sting operations and then set example one or two, just like they've done with the abuse of the naira. People like what they call him now, with Bobrisky and all that. They know. Some of them are feeling it. So now people understand the fact that you cannot abuse the naira anyhow, and so they are careful. So if one or two agencies, one or two institutions, as for the embassy, you cannot arrest the embassy because it's a diplomatic embassy. But of course, they've been told, and so if it is discovered that they are going contrary to that, then there will be a diplomatic exchange with their home country or with their home government to ensure that they comply. But for the private businesses that are all over the place, especially schools and hospitals and the hotels, they must. This is what must be done. They must look at it critically and be able to know that they use one or two persons as a scapegoat, and others will just fall in line. That is just it. Nobody is more powerful than government. If government to implement a decision, nobody can thwart it. I can assure you for that. The government is ready to implement a decision. Nobody. It's just unfortunate that in this country there's a lot of we hold our laws in breach when government officials are the ones breaching the laws. So what do you expect? But if the government has woken up and said no, to do this right, I'm not sure nobody will go against it, and in no distant time or in no little time, we will achieve that policy objective.
All right, Alesta, thank you so much for your time on the news.
Thank you for having me. It's always my pleasure. Thank you.